Hi, this is Vicki with My Paper Connection. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to take this one piece of 3 3/4 by 5 and turn it into these two beautiful cards. These are two cards that we did recently at one of my in-person card classes, and it was so fun to do. And so I'm just going to take you step by step through it, how we did it and how we came up with these gorgeous cards. I am using the Celebrate Sunflower stamp set and a couple of embossing folders, and we're just going to make some really pretty cards. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. As I mentioned before, I am going to be using this 3 3/4 by 5-inch piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to be using black memento ink. So I'm bringing in my image, and basically what I want to do is I want to have 3 across the top, 3 across the bottom, and 2 in the center. And I am going to stamp off. So I'm just going to start over here like this, and I'll fast forward through this. While I have my Stampin' ink out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp on the inside of my card as well. I haven't been doing that a lot lately. I've been not putting sentiments and stuff on the inside, but I am going to put this beautiful flower. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with my coloring, and there's a couple of things I'm going to do first, and that is I'm going to go ahead and get all of my leaves done and the centers. And you know, I did a little experiment for myself, and I thought that starting with the light and then accenting with the dark and then going back with the light was probably the best way. But I've actually gone back and started doing the dark and light to save a step, and it's looking just as good. So, you know, I don't think there's a right or wrong. I'm using let me say that again. I'm using Just Jade for my leaves, and I'm just going through and I'm doing the accent marks for them, and then I'm going to come back with the lighter color because this is the darker of the two, and I'm going to blend that all together. Okay, so I'll fast forward during this so you don't have to just sit there and watch me color and listen to me talk, okay? I'm coming back in using soft suede, and I'm just going to go around the center really quickly like this, and just around the edges like this. And then I'll come back in with the lighter color. All right, for my first flower, I'm going to start out with Pool Party, and I'm going to go ahead and come in with the darker of the combo, and then come back in with the light. For my next card, I am using the Mango Melody, and again, I'm using the dark and then the light. For my next flower, I am going to use Flirty Flamingo. And you might have noticed that I used the bullet point when I start out with. It's because it's a fine tip. Well, not necessarily fine. It's a little blunt, but it's tinier. And I'm able to get more precise with these little areas. The other thing I wanted to tell you about while I'm doing this is that I use black memento ink whenever I stamped this, and that's because these markers, these blends, are alcohol based. So anytime you're using an alcohol based marker, you need to use the black memento ink. If I were using watercolor, then I would have used StazOn. Look how pretty that is and how pretty it blends. All right, next I'm going to go with Highland Heather. This is the brush tip, and I'm able to apply more ink faster doing it this way. I do have to be more careful or I will get out of the lines though. because it's a little bit more flexible and it moves with it a little bit more. So I just have to be a little bit more careful with this one. Next, I'm using Magenta Madness. Next, I'm going to use Misty Moonlight. Next, I'm using Calypso Coral. And next, I'm using Bermuda Bay. Okay, so I went ahead and colored my inside while I was off camera, and I'm bringing in my mini trimmer. And as I mentioned before, this is 3 3/4 by 5, and I want to cut it in half. So to cut it in half, I need to go to 1 7/8. I had a few at the class say, I am measured challenged. I don't do eighths. Okay, so let me tell you how to do it. 1 7/8 is basically the halfway mark between 1 3/4 and 2. On this particular, let me see if I can get it in a little closer. On this trimmer, there are 1/16 and 1/8 inch marks. So the long tick between the 1 3/4 and the 2 is your 1 7/8 mark. Can't say it. Okay, so that will cut it in half. So I'm just going to go ahead like that. As you can see, that cuts it in half. All right, so put that aside. As I mentioned earlier, this was part of a class that I did recently, and I always cut extra card kits for my class. And so I already have the supplies cut, and I already have it embossed. This is actually using the embossing folder from Ornate Gardens, and it's beautiful flowers. Isn't that pretty? And that is Misty Moonlight. It is cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and this is Crumb Cake, which is at 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. Okay, same here. And I told you I was going to make 2 beautiful cards out of it. This is Just Jade, and this is using the Tasteful Textiles embossing folder with it. Okay, so I'm just going to bring in my pieces here. We're going to go ahead and glue them on. And I'm going to put it on the bottom part of my card, and I want to leave a little bit of margin, pretty much the same amount of margin on all 4 sides. Not 4 sides, the 3 sides. So I'm putting it on about like this. I want to make sure I have the same amount of space. This side, and this side. And because this is such a raised embossing folder, you definitely want to use your liquid glue with that. Okay, so I'm going to do the same here, and just going to place glue on the back of it. I'm going to place this right down here, again making sure that my margins are even on those 3 sides. The next thing I'm doing is I am bringing in some ribbon. This is it's a gingham check ribbon, and it's in the Just Jade. And I'm just going to place a glue dot behind it here. And then I'm going to come around here and wrap it across like this. I'm just going to snip off the end there. And then I will bring in a glue dot on the back side of that. And I want to make sure it's even across the front. And then I'm just going to do just like that and stick it down. So now I can bring in my glue, and I can glue this down to the front of my crumb cake. Okay, I'm going to do the same with this. For this one, I'm going to use my braided linen trim. I actually ended up running out of my Misty Moonlight ribbon at class on Thursday night. And you know what? This braided linen is a really pretty color and a really pretty texture. And I think it'll go really nicely with it. And I just basically want to have something that you're seeing other than that cut paper across the front. Just go ahead and trim that off. This time I'm just going to pick up my take your pick tool and put it on the back here for that glue dot. I actually have Misty Moonlight ribbon on order. I'm just waiting for it to come in. It should be here this week. Okay, put this across the front of my card like that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a bow out of my braided linen, and I just make a bunny ear. This is like a faux bow. I'm making another bunny ear, and then I'm just going to tuck it through the little hole right there, and then pull it through like that. Tighten it a little bit, and then just kind of clean it up a little bit more. And then I will use a glue dot on the back side of it. I'm going to place it right here in the front. Do need to tidy that up just a little bit. There we go. Okay, and then I'll trim that off. I probably need to trim that a little more, but I'm going to wait until I do what I want to do with it. The next thing I'm going to do with it first. All right, for this one, I am going to just bring it up under the center of it, and I'm just going to tie a knot. I like doing knots this way because it gives it a cinched look. See how it looks cinched right there? Just cinches it right up. So I'll go ahead and trim this like that. My Stampin' Up scissors are somewhere else at my other desk at the moment. And I'm just going to take another glue dot right here. This time I'm going to place it right up under the back of it and secure that in place. That way it makes sure that my knot does not come undone, and it also secures that ribbon so it doesn't move on my paper. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I have brought in some Whisper White paper, and I have my Just Jade ink pad. I'm just going to stamp Thanks a Bunch right across here. Clean that off. And I will stamp in Misty Moonlight right over here. The next thing I'm going to do is to take my stitched rectangle, and I'm going to go cut this out, and I will be right back. All right, I have my sentiments done, and I'm going to place some dimensionals on the back of these. And I will be finished other than putting the inside in my card. All right, so I've taken the backs off the dimensionals, and I'm just going to put this right in the center right here. Whoops. Right here like that. I think I'm going to make this just a little bit larger. Yeah. That's perfect. Now I'll trim it off a little bit. All right, so now we'll just put these on the inside of our card, and we're all done. I put them on different corners. I think I like that one better. Oh, it's such a pretty card, isn't it? Both of them are so pretty. I got this idea from Ronda Wade. I saw a video of her recently, and she had stamped and made her own DSP using the stamp, but she colored them all a sunflower color basically. And she mentioned how pretty they would be if they were like Gerber Daisies. And so I just couldn't resist. I had to do it. And these turned out so pretty. I love them. I hope you do too. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Give me some thumbs up, show me some love. I would love that. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do so and click the bell and ring the bell, and you'll get notice when I have other videos coming out. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you would like to purchase the products for these, you can go to my store. My website's listed across the top of the screen. And I would love to be your demonstrator. If you need a catalog, just let me know and I would love to get one of those out to you as well. Stay tuned because in September I'm rolling out my new loyalty program for customers, so you're going to want to know all about that. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great, great day. Bye now.